Hello everyone, Michael here, part-time gamer, full-time dad with another too long didn't read World of Warcraft guide. If you like these guides, get subscribed and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any in the future. With that being said, on with the Unholy Death Knight. Unholy currently has a very high potential damage output in both single target and AoE situations, with its main drawbacks being serious lack of mobility and an uncertain ramp-up time due to the randomness of festering wounds. Side note, this basics guide will assume no legendaries and an artifact weapon up to Concordance 1 and will focus on single target with brief AoE mentions. So, first up, as an Unholy Death Knight, your secondary stat priority should be Mastery, Haste until around 20-ish%, Crit Strike, or Versatility. Here it's suggested that you pick one over the other and focus that. Personally, I like Versatility as it adds damage reduction as well. Unholy DKs though consider Strength King. So a decent eye level upgrade for the strength will probably outweigh the secondary stats. Mastery is on top solely for the fact that it increases your shadow damage, which, well, is a massive portion of all your damage. So following the above priority, your gems will be the plus 200 Saber's Eye of Strength for your first, and plus 200 Masterful Argolite gems in your remaining. Your enchants will be Mark of the Trained Soldier on your neck for the Mastery proc, Binding of Strength on your cloak, and Binding of Mastery on your rings. Additive to that, use Rune of the Fallen Crusader on your weapon. Your consumables should be the Flask of the Countless Armies for the strength, the Potion of Prolonged Power for the stats, and the Lavish Suramar Feast for the strength. That's of course provided you're in a situation where you can utilize a feast. If no feast, the Nightborn Delicacy Platter is your best bet for the mastery. For Unholy DKs, a Relic's eye level increase will almost always win out over the trade it provides. However, you do want to be on the lookout for Plague Bearer, the Dark Crusade, or Deadliest Coil traits if the eye levels are equal. So now let's get into the meat of it all, the talents. At level 56, Ebon Fever is going to win out in almost every situation. Bursting Sores relies on a very certain legendary to be super effective, and All Will Serve just doesn't give enough output. Level 57 should be Pestilent Pustules for the runes it will generate. Epidemic is currently lacking, and Blighted Rune Weapon is better suited for Mythic Plus, not long single target boss fights. Level 58 is Unholy Frenzy, which is a nice passive attack speed increase. The trick here is trying to maintain 100% uptime, and I can tell you right now it's challenging without something like Weak Ores. For level 60, you won't gain any DPS out of these picks, so really go with whatever you want. I personally roll with Sludge Belcher because Abominations are far cooler looking than the Ghoul. For level 75, again, no DPS increase, so it's up to you. These ones are far more situational, however. I personally use Spell Eater because it can be useful both in and out of raids. Lingering Apparition is worth a second look though if you are doing a high mobility fight. Level 90 is kind of gear dependent row, and since we assume no specific gear, a good default is Infected Claws. Having your pet add stacks of festering wounds frees up runes for you. Never a bad thing. Level 100 should be Dark Arbiter. The only time you really even look at the others is if there's a ton of AoE, in which case Defile will pull ahead. Soul Reaper currently can't compete. So if you've picked the same talents as I outlined above, the following bit will help you to learn the basics of how to actually play an Unholy DK. The rotation, as it's often called, is based on a priority system, with the one exclusion being when you're about to get ready to use Dark Arbiter. So you build Festering Wound stacks via Festering Strike, and then burst them via Scourge Strike. This is the main balancing act that is the Unholy Death Knight. You want to make sure that if you have 6 Festering Wound stacks on your target and Apocalypse is up, you use that to consume the wounds, then build more back up with Festering Strikes. While you're balancing that back and forth, maintain Virulent Plague via Outbreak, aiming for 100% uptime or as close as you can get, and weave in Death Coils so that you don't cap your runic power. If there's a bit of AoE, you can drop your Death and Decay, but it's probably going to be an actual DPS loss on single target. As well, always make sure Raise Dead is on your bar somewhere and that your pet doesn't die, and if it does die, res it immediately. Unholy Death Knights have a couple of DPS cooldowns worth mentioning, so let's do that right quick. We already touched on Apocalypse, your artifact weapon ability, so let's just jump in with Army of the Dead. This ability provides a nice burst of damage and is often considered something you should use pre-pull. If you're going to do that, make sure it's about 6 seconds before so that you also have enough time to pre-pot as well. Secondly, you've got Summon Gargoyle or Dark Arbiter if you pick that talent. This is a very powerful cooldown for an Unholy Death Knight, and you need to try to use it properly. You want to use it as much as you can in a fight, only delaying it a little bit if you know Heroism or Lust is coming. But before you do, you need to build a lot of runic power and have at least 3 runes. Your Arbiter gains damage based on your runic power spent, so you want to utilize this effect as much as you can. If you look at some of the top Unholy DKs on Warcraft logs, their Dark Arbiter is their highest overall damage ability on any given boss. With those out of the way, there are a couple abilities worth mentioning that should probably be on your bar just in case. Mind Freeze being your interrupt, Wraithwalk, which is your mobility ability, Death Strike, which is a self-heal, mostly only used in those oh shit moments, Icebound Fortitude, which is a damage reduction ability, Anti-Magic Shell, which is a magic damage absorption shield, Death Grip, which can be useful to pull in a straggler ad, and Raise Ally, which is your battle res. Unholy DKs do have other abilities, but these are simply the ones I figured merited the most mention. So with that, we're done. Get subscribed for more videos, hit the like button if you liked the video, and leave a comment letting me know what you think. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.